You know what? When you come to the AR screen, there are different types of transaction classes, and I'm sure you are familiar with them. You have chargebacks, you have credit memos, debit memos, and invoices. So, what I want to actually clarify is, although chargeback can be queried here, in addition to these four, there is also one more type of transactions in AR called adjustment. Okay, now adjustment is something and similar to chargeback. In both cases, an existing invoice is modified. Okay, so for example, the invoice is for $100 and the customer only pays $80. So for the remaining $20, there is two options. Either you create a chargeback or you create an adjustment invoice. Okay, adjustment on the invoice. In both cases, they are linked to the invoice itself, the original invoice itself. But when you're looking for the transactions, when you search for the transactions, you cannot individually look for adjustments like that. You don't have the adjustment options in the manage transaction screen. Adjustment is attached inside the invoice. So you need to build reports to see those adjustments. Okay, there's an adjustment report also, standard report also. That is one thing. The second thing is chargeback can be seen here. You can see chargeback we can query because it gets created as a separate transaction type. Okay. But there is one thing you need to know. When you are doing legacy data migration, you can only do credit memo, debit memo, and invoices. You cannot migrate a chargeback. Okay. You cannot do an FBDI on a chargeback. So if you go to the FBDI, sample FBDI process, right, you won't find, see, first of all, this does not have a transaction source. It only has a transaction type, which is this field. Okay. This field. But those transaction types need to be associated with a transaction class, right? So here you won't see that, but we know that based on the experience, I learned that we cannot migrate anything which is a chargeback. We have to migrate credit memos, debit memos, and invoices only. Okay, so I just wanted to mention this quickly. This is something which sometimes gets asked in certification exams or even during interviews or sometimes any other FAQs and things like that. Sometimes even by the clients. So I thought I'll quickly tell you this. Remember the difference between chargeback adjustments and write-offs. So you also see there is no write-off here, right? So write-offs, chargebacks, adjustments, these are different actions you can take on an invoice when they get paid during the payment process, but when they get either short paid or excess payment and things like that. Okay, so that's something I wanted to quickly mention about chargeback.